Hello, Desert Bearhawk fans, and good morning. It's Thursday morning, 11/17/2016. We're in the shop, and it is almost 2 a.m. About 2 a.m. And we are in the process of deskinning the wing. As you can see here, all but one wing panel remains. And what I've been doing is I've been deskinning the wing, and then as I remove each section of skin, and you can see this demarcation right here, so there's a panel out that way, as I've been dimpling the holes, as you may or may not be able to tell if this video will focus. It probably won't. Yeah, there we go. That makes it focus. Dimpling holes. And the reason that I'm doing them one skin at a time is because there is going to end up being a couple holes on this aircraft structure. Now we're out of focus again, huh, I suppose. Yeah, on the structure that I cannot dimple for whatever reason. I can't get the dimple die in there. There isn't enough clearance, whatever. And so what I'm doing is I'm systematically dimpling each hole on the structure, because the structure dictates whether or not I dimple a hole on the skin. If I can't get it on the structure, I sure as heck don't want to put a dimple on the skin in that location, because then I'll have a problem. So as you can see here, maybe you can, maybe you can't. You see the red circles on the end of these trailing edge ribs for the aileron bay. Those holes right there were too tight to get a dimple die in there without really futzing stuff up. So what I've elected to do is I'm going to go with a skin rivet on those back ribs, and you can see that every one of them has that red circle. I have correspondingly marked, I'm not sure if that's a word, but I have marked the corresponding hole in the skin for this area with a red marker as well. So as I'm mindlessly dimpling away, I don't accidentally dimple the skin in that location, because there won't be a dimple in the structure to receive it. So as we're working our way down, we've gotten all the way now down to, and I'm happy to say that it's those very trailing edge aileron pocket back ribs that I can't get that very last one. It's really not a structural concern. It's more of a hold the skin in place, and the skin rivet will do just fine. For those of you asking what a skin rivet is, it's a 1097, and it's got a reduced profile head to allow you to countersink into a hole without knife edging the edge of the hole going too deep. So I have this piece of skin remaining here to remove, but I've just discovered, as you can see here, I didn't drill the corresponding hole here or here to pick up this rib and this rib, and I got a hole there. I must have got fouled up on my measurements. I don't know what I was doing, but it won't hurt to have another rivet right here. The edge distances are going to be fine, but I need to put one here and one here, so I'm catching all of this material and pinching it all together. Easy deal. I just have to put this piece of skin, this last piece of skin, which is 32, back on. On the other side, I've already successfully dimpled all the holes all the way down, and as you can see, I've got all my holes drilled for my nut plates, and I need to dimple all those with the number 6 dimple die for the number 6 rivets or screws. So we're moving along. Lots of disassembly here, but this is the final time. This is the final time, knock on wood, that I will be taking the skin off or putting the skin on. A buddy of mine is in the process of constructing the wiring harness that will pick up on, it'll go in some of that corrugated tubing like I have hanging here. And then it'll pick up with 8 L clamps off these little standoffs right here. Thank you, Brent, for those. And we're on our way. Still lots to do, but the finish line is in sight. We've got, at this point, every hole drilled except for the 2 I just found. Hopefully I won't find any more that need to be drilled up. But I'm estimating another week to dimple all the skins and prime them, and then it'll take a couple hours for me to cleco them all back on here, if my hand doesn't go into cardiac arrest before then. And then once it's clecoed all back on, and I'll cleco on all the top skins, I won't put on any of these bottom skins, so I have access to buck rivets on the top side. Once the top's all bucked together and done, then it's just a simple matter of clecoing in the bottom skin and working our way down and getting them riveted in place. Should be fairly easy to do. I've got a couple of people that are really good on the rivet gun, so I'll be calling them into service here soon, but it looks like we are real close to checking the box on another wing being done. And I guess that's that. My goal this week was to do one wing panel off each day and dimple the corresponding structure. I got behind. It is now Thursday, and I stayed up late tonight to get this root bay done, and tomorrow I got to put that piece of skin back on, which I'll put it on. I'll drill those 2 holes. It should be holes just like these 2. You can see those are there, right? Okay, good. Yeah, I'll drill those 2 holes and then pull that piece of skin back off, dimple the rib on that side. Once that's done, and I've checked that I can get a dimple on every hole, I will then move to the center bay, and I'll pull that fuel tank off, take that piece of skin off, and then dimple the rest of it. I am concerned about some of these right here down on the bottom, down there. I don't know if I'm going to have clearance. I don't know for sure if I am or not going to have some clearance problems. I may have to work some tooling over to get them in. But I'll figure out a way to make it work. There is always a way to do what it is you need to do. So that's the update. 7 minutes and 18 seconds of me yammering away. If you've stuck with me, thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this part of the build process. Soon, boys and girls, we'll be starting on the empennage, and there is some chromoly steel ribs for the stabilizer, the horizontal stab, the vertical stab. The elevators and the rudder are basically in that pile right there. Got to get some chromoly tubing, get my big work table in here and start. That might be slightly delayed because the entire shop might be moving along with the rest of my house to a new house. So that's all up in the air, but we're going to keep pressing on as much as we can. The important thing is to get this wing out of the fixture before you have to move, or before I have to move, because I don't believe that I'd ever get it lined up again perfectly. I mean, I guess I would, but it would just be a royal pain. Oh, here you can see the landing light mounts are riveted in over there, and they're ready to go. So we're golden here. We're looking real good, and we're moving right along. And I know it's been a long time for you early adopters to the page. I think I'm at 1,275 days or something like that I've been building on this thing. You know, there's the old plans book, and I don't even have to hardly look at that anymore right now because I know this wing so well. But I'm grateful for all of you hanging in there with me. I hope you enjoy the build updates, and soon we'll stop serving wing and we'll start moving on to tail feathers. One other thing that's going to be interesting, I think that you'll find interesting, is that I have to make both of my wing tips are going to be scratch built as well. They're going to be hornier tips. They're going to be Horner tips, and I'm going to use you know, the fiberglass and foam method to create those. I'm going to integrate my Aero LED wingtip lights, which, by the way, these are super awesome. Aero LEDs rock, but of course, like everything that rocks, you pay quite the premium for them. I'm not going to say how much, but if those of you are curious, you can figure out. They're the Pulsar, what's the model? NSP, Pulsar NSP, so you can see right there. And I got a pretty good deal. Spruce hooked me up. Another company was running a sale, and they honored that sale price, so did pretty good on them. But they're the strobe, the position, and the tail light all in one, and I'm going to integrate them into my wingtips. Should be pretty trick when I'm done. And there's a dated expression for you. But that's going to be a new adventure for me, because as much model airplane stuff, and there's a Mustang hanging there, and I have model airplanes everywhere, I must admit that I'm not a fiberglass master. So I'm sure I'm going to more than screw up a bunch of foam and fiberglass before I get it done. Probably spend 3 times as much as I would have spent if I just bought them from somebody. But it's a scratch build airplane, and I want to kind of put my own little touch on the wingtips. It's something that people look at. I notice when you go to Oshkosh, people kind of look at wingtips. You know, if you got a crappy looking wingtip with a bunch of screws and cracks, I think that kind of sets the tone for people's opinion about your whole build. Not that I care what people think, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't care what people think. I try to do good work and want to be proud of it. So I'm going to give it a shot on those wingtips. I mean, if I got 6 or 8 months into it and I'm just not making any progress, I might cry uncle and tap out. But I don't think that'll be the case. It's like everything else in this shop. You make some mistakes, but you gain some knowledge, and before you know it, you got a mastery of things. And that's what scratch building's all about. So 1,265 or 70 days or whatever it is coming up on the holiday season, and we'll be pounding rivets here in the shop. And my goal is to have this wing liberated from this fixture before the first of the year, and then I can go about my business of bolting on the aileron and the flap. Once that's done, then I'm going to move things to a storage so I can kind of reconfigure in here and get set up for the next projects. So there you have it. That's the update. Thanks for sticking with me. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you continue to enjoy it. Please tell your friends. Tell them to like the page, and let's get the count up. And with that, I will see you in the shop.